Good morning, friends. In today's Tales from Cricket Archives, we'll see India's first ever Test match win against Australians. In 1959-60, the Australian cricket team led by Richie Benaud, consisting of great players such as Neil Harvey, Ray Lindwall, Alan Davidson, landed in India to play a 5 Test match series. Before that, the two teams had played 2 series, one at home and one away. Both were won by Australians. The first series was won 4-0 by Australia and the second one was 2-0. So Indians were yet to win a match against the Australians. As expected, Indians found it very difficult to match up to the Australian standards in the first Test. The Australians bundled out India for 135 in the first Test and then piled up 468 with Neil Harvey scoring 114. In the second innings, Indians scored 206, though Pankaj Roy batted very well for his 99, unlucky to miss 100. But yet that was not enough. Second innings, Richie Benaud took 5 wickets to seal an innings victory. The Australians had won the match by a massive margin of innings and 127 runs. For the next Test, the chairman of selection committee, Lala Amarnath, sprang a surprise by picking 35-year-old off-spinner Jasu Patel, who had very little record till date, having played about 2-3 Tests and not doing much. But that was a very calculated move. In the second Test, which was played at Nagpur, it went the same way as the first Test, with Indians getting shot out for 152 this time. All the batsmen getting 20s and not any of the batsmen going on to get a big score. Again, Alan Davidson took 5 for 31 in India's 152. In reply, Australians were cruising at 128 for 1 when Jasu Patel started turning things around for India. In fact, Lala Amarnath, who was in the ground, supposedly talked to the Indian captain G.S. Ramchand to change the end from which Jasu Patel was bowling. And then promptly Ramchand followed the advice and they started paying rich dividends with Jasu Patel making the ball turn and jump from the footmarks created by the bowlers. And suddenly the Australians found batting and runs difficult to come. From 128 for 1, they collapsed to 219 all out. Jasu Patel slicing through the batting lineup, taking 9 wickets for 69 runs. It was a superb bowling effort, the best ever, surpassing Vinu Mankad's 8 for 55 in the Indians' inaugural Test win against England. In the second innings, Indians, motivated by the performance of Jasu Patel, batted as a team. Most of the batsmen got into double figures and scored 30s and 40s. Nari Contractor led the batting with 74 well-made runs. Two vital partnerships for the 6th wicket and 7th wicket were very, very useful in swelling Indians' total. One between Chandu Borde and Ramnath Kenny for the 6th wicket yielded 61 runs. And then Bapu Nadkarni and Ramnath Kenny added 72 vital runs for the 7th wicket to push the score to 291, an overall lead of 224. When Australians batted for the second time, they were pursuing 224 to win. But then the bowling was not as easy as it was for them in the first Test. Jasu Patel again started turning things around for India, giving Indians vital breakthrough. Paulie Umrigar supplemented him nicely. Slowly, Indians started dominating, and in the end, Australians were all out for 105, with Jasu Patel bowling a splendid spell, picking 5 for 55, and Paulie Umrigar 4 for 27. One batsman was absent as he was not well. Hence, Indians won the match by a big margin of 119 runs to register their first ever victory against Australia in their 10th attempt. The previous 9 Tests yielded 6 losses and 3 drawn games. Jasu Patel became an overnight hero with that 9 wicket and 5 wicket spell, a total of 14 wickets in the match, which was a record. So it was party time, celebration time for India. And then Jasu Patel became very, very famous. The Test later on came to be called as Jasu Patel's Test. In the next Test, however, Indians drew the Test match, but the 4th Test Australians won by an innings, and the fifth one was drawn. Indians lost the series 1-2, but then they recorded their first ever victory against Australia. Great test match that for India, and great test match for Jasu Patel. His 14 for 124 remained intact till Narendra Hirwani broke it with a 16-wicket haul in that Madras test on his debut against West Indies. That's it for today's Tales from Cricket. See you next week. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Thank you all.